In this video, we will be discussing the implementation of a bidirectional visitor counter using Arduino. My team members are Sameer Pathan, Rohit Ranjan, and I am Ayush Yadav. Let's look at the outline of this presentation. We will be starting with the system overview of the entire project, which will tell us about how the project has been implemented as a whole. Then we will be looking at the architecture, which will tell us all the components we have used. The detailed system design will tell us about the hardware and software implementation. Invention details has uh, a lot of subtopics like the objects of the invention, the brief description of drawings, working examples, and then we'll have the implementation in the form of a flowchart. Starting with the system overview, a bidirectional visitor counter is used to track the movement of people entering or exiting an area. It is typically installed at all entry points to monitor when a person has entered or left. It also displays the number of people currently occupying the area. Most bidirectional visitor counters make use of infrared sensors to detect the movement of people through them, and we have used the same in our project. When a person enters the area, the visitor counter is incremented by 1, and when a person leaves the area, the visitor counter is decremented by 1. Moving on to the architecture, here you can see that we have an Arduino board along with an infrared LEDs, which are the sensors for our project. Now whenever an object passes through the sensor, it will indicate the Arduino to increment or decrement the counter depending on whether a person is entering or leaving the area. This is the complete circuit diagram. On the left you can see the infrared modules. We have used two modules. The GND denotes the ground. The plus 5V is the 5-volt relay. ARD1 is the Arduino microcontroller. On the left side we have the analog inputs, and on the right side we have the digital inputs. The digital inputs are connected to the LCD on one end and to a BC547 transistor on the other end. The transistor on the other hand is connected to a 220 volt alternating current power supply. Now I am going to discuss the purpose of each component, starting with the microcontroller, the Arduino Uno. It is a microcontroller board based on the 80 Mega 328 architecture. We have programmed the logic onto the Arduino board to carry out the project. The 5-volt relay is an electromagnetic switch operated by a relatively small electric current that can turn on or off a much larger electric current. Resistors have been introduced to precisely control the amount of resistance in the circuit. The infrared sensor module sends out infrared energy and looks for reflected infrared energy to detect presence of any obstacle in front of the sensor module. The liquid crystal display is of 16x2 size, and it has been used to display data to the user, such as the number of people currently in the area or to indicate if the hall is empty or full. The breadboard provides temporary connections between individual components to design and assemble the circuit. The BC547 transistor has been used to regulate the amount of current flowing through the circuit. We have also added a load bulb to indicate the presence of current in the circuit. Moving on to the invention details, starting with the objects of invention. The primary object of our invention is to design a controller-based model to count the number of persons in the area. An object of this invention is to count the number of persons visiting a particular room by incrementing the counter by 1 whenever someone enters the room. Another object of the present invention is to display the count on the LCD. Another object is to build an economical cost-reducing system which, when implemented in places where the visitors have to be counted and controlled, is efficient. Another object is to make the whole system cost-effective and more functional than the already existing systems. Moreover, we can aim to maximize the efficiency and effectiveness of employees, time saving, and sales potential of an organization. Now, moving on to the brief description of drawings. In figure 1, you can see a block diagram of the embedded system, giving us an idea of how the system works. It displays the basic functioning of the whole system. On the left side, you can see the transmitter and receiver for the enter gate, and on the bottom side, you can see the receiver and transmitter for the exit gate. This information is fed to the Arduino Uno, which in turn applies logic and displays it on the LCD counter, which is displayed on the right of the diagram. Moving on to the next diagram, this is the circuit diagram of the infrared sensor which we have used in the project. It shows the various connections of electrical components which have been used in this module. Moving on to the working examples of the invention details. The first example is, consider a person entering a room. Then the counter will be incremented by 1. In a similar way, it will get decremented whenever a person leaves the room. Another example is, the counter value is displayed on the LCD connected to the system. The total number of persons inside the room will be displayed on the LCD. Yet another example could be that when the room is full, we could display on the LCD that the room is currently full and no more visitors are currently allowed inside. This is a flowchart of the implementation. Here you can see how data is processed and transferred through the system. Now, when a person leaves the area, the red LED will grow. Indicates that we have to decrement the counter. On the other hand, if a person enters the area, the green LED will glow and we will increment the counter. Now, as soon as we increment or decrement the counter, the information has to be updated and displayed on the LCD. The LCD has to display whether the room is full or empty or how many people are currently in the room. And if the maximum capacity is reached, this is checked over here, then we have to display that the maximum capacity has been exceeded and no more people can enter. These are the references of various research papers which we have used for our project. Thank you.